Hi everybody, I'm Meteorologist Gavin Sandel. Well, AM, one of the major ways that we can listen to talk shows, music, and sports out and about. It's been with us since the early 1900s, but it's not without its shortcomings. Weather actually also has a big role in how AM radio sounds, and to fully understand Mother Nature's impacts, let's first understand what AM radio is, especially for the younger folk out there. And it's actually an abbreviation. It stands for amplitude modification. And AM radio is part of the electromagnetic spectrum, and it's something that we classify a lot of things in our environment. Visible light is also part of the electromagnetic spectrum, and it has to do with waves and wavelengths as well. So what we're actually doing with AM radio is we're changing the amplitude of the waves, and that's the height that waves are, and that's how you get sound out. So very interesting stuff. One thing on the electromagnetic spectrum, like I mentioned, is visible light, and something that we see on there is lightning. That can make a big impact because it has a lot of energy that's stored in there. Lightning as a total, its frequency, or the time in between its oscillations, it's 1 hertz to 300 megahertz, which can go from a little to a lot. And then compare this with AM waves, which can be much bigger, but still, these lightning bolts can have major interferences on AM waves. And so what we call this is spherics, and that's static bursts that are caused by lightning. And so these spherics can have a major impact on it. And this is what the scale is between spherics, AM, and FM radio. As you can see, spherics are going to be on the low end, 5 to 10 kilohertz, but still that can make a major impact on AM radio, which is between 530 and 1700 kilohertz. Let's say you're switching to 660 kilohertz, that's 660 the channel as well. But look at FM, that's all the way on the other side of the graphic. That's about 10 to 100 times the frequency of AM radio. So interestingly enough, lightning can impact AM radio, but doesn't have the same impact as FM, with that also being technologically more advanced than AM radio. But there's another thing too that positively impacts AM radio, and it has to do with the day and the range of it as well. So I'm going to take a look now at what's called the ionosphere, and that is a area well above the surface of the Earth. You could divide it into 3 layers, the D layer, the E layer, and the F layer. What they mean doesn't really matter, but it's where most particles ionize, and that's just the changing of electrons within atoms in this region. So during the day, what you could see is radio waves from the AM tower hit the bottom of the D layer about 40 miles up, and they get absorbed. They don't go anywhere. And so what happens is you don't have that long of a range. Only ground waves can get as far as where you can hear on radio. So now what happens, because this is fueled by the sun's energy, the ionosphere, at night the D layer goes dormant and it doesn't exist overnight. So what then ends up happening from the radio mast, these waves can go up way higher and they don't get absorbed by the E layer. So when they go down, they can go thousands and thousands of miles, and therefore waves can go much further to the factor of thousands of miles. But this does have the impact of changing up how the ranges are, and so if every AM station was on overnight, then there would be massive amounts of interference. So stations actually have to pick and choose how much power they have overnight. So it's all a very interesting thing. This doesn't have to do with FM radio, just AM radio, with just how the technology is, but all very intriguing stuff, how weather can impact one of our oldest radio stations. For Weather 101, I'm Gavin Sandel.